Hi guys, I'm out here on our back patio. It's a couple days before New Year's Eve. I'm in Maryland Zone 7B and I'm out here in a light jacket. We're supposed to get up to 63 degrees today, a freakishly warm day. It already feels like spring out here. So I thought I'd come out and take advantage of it, give you guys a quick mini tour of the gardens, show you how everything is looking in real time. And we did have a lot of rain the last few days, so the ground is pretty squishy, but it did give me the opportunity to organize the grow room. And I found a couple of packets of carrot and lettuce seeds. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to experiment and plant them in one of the raised beds in the wintertime and just see how they do? So that's what we're gonna do after we do our little mini tour. The sun is out, it feels so good, and it's warming up really quickly. It already feels like spring, and it just gets me so excited for next season. So I thought I'd start in the backyard and work our way all the way around the front and end up in the vegetable garden where we can plant our seeds. So I thought we'd start on the south side at the bottom of our swale. This is where we planted our Green Mountain boxwood hedge earlier this year. I planted 6 on each side of the swale, and they seem to be liking their spot. They haven't bronzed out at all this winter, and typically boxwoods tend to do that their first year because they haven't rooted in and fully established. But these seem to be liking it. I haven't seen any bronzing on the leaves, and look at the new growth. Look at that. There's like 4 or 5 inches of new growth on here. So clearly these are all liking their spot. And you can see this section over here gets dappled morning sun. This section towards our back fence, this tends to be in a little bit more shade in the morning, but in the afternoon, this whole section is completely engulfed in sunshine. So they all get mixed light throughout the day. But let me show you this one boxwood over here. This is Shuey's boxwood because he has run to the corner of this area of the yard where the neighbor's dog is, and he's literally just trampled right across it and broken so many branches. I'm probably gonna have to replace it. But aside from that, they're all looking really good. I mean, I'm just really happy with how much growth some of these have put on. And if we swing back over here, this is the section that we removed all of the grass. We laid down landscape fabric and mulch, and everything seems to be staying in place, but it's usually around February where we start to see that lesser celandine come up, so I'll keep you guys posted on that. There's our little green giant arborvitae, looking pretty good. It's got a little bit of bronzing on it, but it's fine. I love it. It's just so airy and just a little poof. Next to that, we've got our Rising Sun Redbud, which you can see I've staked up. Our Green Arrow Alaskan Cedar is hanging on after having a branch snapped off from the ladders falling on it. Our Fine Line Buckthorn is hanging out, and we have our Weeping Blue Spruce, and this is one of my favorite trees on the property. I absolutely love this, and it's doing really well. Next to that, we've got Shasta Daisies, Buddleia, our Limelight Standard, some more arborvitaes, a mophead false cypress back there, and another Weeping Blue Spruce. And you can tell this season, I focus primarily on winter interest because we do have a lot of perennials, and when we cut them back, you don't really see anything but mulch. But now we have something pretty in the back to look at. These Weeping Blue Spruces are just such stunners and great specimen plants. If you don't have one, I highly recommend getting one. They're just beautiful. So now if we swing back over here towards the front, we've got our arborvitae hedge over here. I've got it netted because the deer have found it, so I'm protecting them. Right along over here, our green velvet boxwood hedge. And you can see if I come in close, there's no bronzing or anything on here. They're just hanging out, doing their thing. Let's make our way to the front yard. So we were just working in this front flower bed a few days ago. We did a lot of perennial cutback with the Nepeta and Nephophias, but this is what we have right now for our winter interest. We've got our Green Tower boxwoods over here, a Sky Pencil Holly, a dwarf euonymus, which just brings a nice pop of bright green to this bed. We've got our Scentlandias, which have their fall color, and look at that. This just gives us our pop of red. I can't believe they're still holding on at the end of December. All three of them just look stunning. Our Bobo hydrangeas, I kept the blooms on because I think they look good for the winter. I like them, and I like how they look right next to our dwarf blue spruce, which this is actually kind of puffing out and getting a little bit wider. But now that we have the buddleias removed, it's going to get a lot more sun because it was hiding behind one of the buddleias. Another Bobo hydrangea. This is just what it looks like. On this side of the walkway, we have our newly planted green velvet boxwood hedge. These have only been in the ground a couple months, and you can see on a lot of them, they've got that bronzing effect, that bronze coloring. These were planted late season. They were in their containers way too long, so they were a little stressed out to begin with, but I think once they reset in spring, they should be okay. Looks good though. Then we get over here to our other front bed. We've got our limelight hydrangeas in the back, a dwarf Alberta spruce, another sky pencil. We cut back some Nophofias, and here we have our Pugster pinker buddleias, another false cypress, and of course, my favorite, Jazz Hands pink loropetalum. Just such a stunner. And I love its kind of wild and wispy and weeping growth habit. And the fact that it's an evergreen, it just makes it that much better. Because really, where can you find an evergreen that's red? Look at that. So pretty. And then right over here, we have our Miss Violet buddleia, aka butterfly bush, which this thing is big. It's about 5 feet tall, 4 feet wide, but it adds just a nice boom anchor of purple in the season. And then over here we have the ending of our boxwood hedge, and there's that bronzing I was telling you about. But again, I think once they get through the winter and kick off and break dormancy in the spring, they'll be fine, because look, underneath, green. And I saw in the comments section, a couple of you wanted to see an update on the sky pencil holly hedge we planted. So here it is. I'll show you from this side because the sun is glaring on that side and you can't really see anything. But here's our sky pencil holly hedge looking so good. We've got berries on quite a few of these, but they're all doing really well. You will notice though that there's some irregular growth, and that's to be expected when you have something that's so columnar and upright. You have to kind of maintain the height and the proportions. So we'll do that in the spring just a little bit, but I think all in all, they're starting to thicken up. Some of them have berries, some of them don't. I'm guessing maybe we've got male and female mixed in here. Here's one with some berries. But they're all holding that beautiful green color. They're holding their form, their upright form, but there's the new growth on them. So all in all, I'm really happy with them. I think they look really good. There was a little bit of damage to this one. I think our summer heat wave just was so intense that everything just kind of suffered a little. But again, they just look so good. And then we'll come over here to our ground cover section. We recently planted this the day after Thanksgiving. We've got our cotoneasters, our Jazz Hands mini loropetalum. I planted 2 here, and I don't know, but I think the deer or the rabbits are super hungry because these are typically deer resistant. The deer and the rabbits just stay away from them. But I think with the wacky weather this whole year, everything's out of sorts. So I think the deer are just so hungry. They're just sampling everything. And I love this little grass that we've got here. It's just that nice pop of yellow and green. I added a few rocks just to kind of see, you know, if I liked them or not. I definitely want like a rock or a boulder somewhere. I just don't know where. And then our other green arrow Alaskan cedar is doing beautifully. I did add a garden stake to it because it did put on a little bit of growth, but super happy with that. And just this whole area in general. We still need to go look at stones because I do eventually want some kind of a pathway, but that's in the future. And right behind that, we have our 2 rising sun redbuds, and these we planted in the beginning of the season, and they've put on some growth, but I'm loving their winter structure. Just this solid main trunk, and then all of these branches just randomly coming out. I like the overall shape of it. I like the winter interest. I'm just really happy with them. And I think they like their spot. They're pretty much in full sun. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing what they do next season. These are full sun loving trees, but I think because it was their first year in the ground and we planted them with pretty much a full canopy, I don't think they were fully acclimated to the sun. So they did show signs of sunburn and sun scorch. So I'm hoping this year, once they break dormancy, they can acclimate a lot quicker and be a little bit more adjusted to the full sun. Okay, that takes care of everything in the front yard. Now let's make our way back to the vegetable garden. I'll show you that area real quick, and then we'll get to work on our experiment. Okay, so now we're in the backyard, right by the back gate. This is where our fig tree was. And let me turn the camera around and I'll show you. This is pretty much our landing pad. This is where we're wintering everything over as we lose a boxwood. Come on, little guy. Hang up, hang in there. So we've got our raised beds here. These are all of the junior green giant arborvitaes that we had in our plant haul. They've been hanging out here this whole winter and they're doing beautifully. And the fact that it's been raining so much, I don't have to water any of them. Absolutely love it. Here's our garlic bed. Not much to show on this. I've got some netting over here, but everything, oh no, wait, look. Can you see that? Right there. That's a little garlic coming out. Oh, so exciting. And oh, I see another one over there. It's really tiny. And it's okay if they do that in the winter. It's totally fine. They'll just, you know, die back once the weather gets colder, and then in the spring, they'll come back up again. It'll be interesting to see too, this is the area that we laid down the cardboard to smother all the grass. It'll be interesting to see in the spring how it all turned out, because I think I may want to plant in the ground a little bit behind the raised beds. I'm not sure, but either way, I still want to see what's going on underneath. And we're right back where we started. This is the last 2 raised beds. This was our tomato bed this past season. This was our pepper bed. And this is the bed that we're going to be planting up today. So as I said earlier, when I was cleaning out the grow room and organizing seeds, I found a couple of open packs of carrot and lettuce seeds. So I thought, wouldn't it be fun to plant them in the winter and just see what they do? So that's what we're going to do. I've got some Scarlet Nantes carrots here, some Bibb lettuce, which this packet fell into a puddle and the bottom ripped open, so I've got to be careful. I've got seeds falling out of it. But these are the 2 that we're going to be planting today, and we're going to amend the soil with some garden tone because the bed that we're planting in had peppers before and they're heavy feeders, and lettuce and carrots are also heavy feeders, so we need to recharge the soil. So I'm going to start by amending the soil and getting our bed ready, and then I'm just going to follow the back of the packets as far as planting goes, and we'll get everything planted. Also, you'll notice I took the frost cover off of the green stalk. I figured, hey, let's let Mother Nature water it. All right, here we go. All right, guys, we've got our lettuce and carrots planted. Doesn't really look too much different, but I did come in and amend the soil with the garden tone, just kind of fluff up the soil and level it all out. Then I made a couple of little trenches on this side, about 1/4 of an inch deep, and a couple on this side, 1/4 of an inch deep. Planted the 2 rows of carrots here, 2 rows of lettuce here, covered them all up. And I was initially going to do this in a 3x4 bed. So we had a couple pieces of leftover wood that Mo cut to size for a 3x4 bed. But I've seen where people plant carrot seeds and then they lay a piece of wood down to kind of keep everything moist. So I thought I would try it, but since I didn't have any other wood, I figured, hey, let's just try this over the row instead of just completely over the soil. So this is yet an experiment within an experiment, but I figured let's just give it a try. And I only came out to right here for both the lettuce and the celery because this section over here I'm going to use for a succession crop. In a couple of weeks I'll start a couple of trays of seeds of carrots and celery inside, and then we'll transplant them here, and that'll be our other experiment that I'm just decided to do now. So hey, why not? So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to water it in because we're going to get rain in a couple of hours. It doesn't look like it because the sun is out, but the clouds are starting to roll in. So I'm just going to let Mother Nature water it all in, and I'll probably come out with either like some hoops and some shade cloth or frost cover or some netting, just something to keep the squirrels from jumping in here, because you can see they love to dig around in these beds. So yeah, so I will keep you guys updated on our little experiment and just make sure you guys know how they're all doing. And you guys, that's it for today's video. Oh God, I probably got dirt on me now. Anyways, super happy to be able to get out here in what feels like a beautiful spring day. This just pumps me up and motivates me for spring. I can't wait for it to get here. I do love winter, but honestly in this area, I wish the snow was prettier. I wish we had those blankets of snow instead of just that dusting that kind of gets gray and slushy and then it just kind of disappears. But anyways, either way, I'm so glad to have this project done. I'm glad I was able to take you guys around real quick, show you how everything is looking, and just spend time together. Anyways, guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful new year, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.